This is McFly Angler.
Starts now.
For a hook, we need a 2x long shank dry fly hook like these 1280s from Daiichi, and today I'm tying this in a size 14. Place the hook securely in your vise. For thread, I really like this Vivus 10-aught in black. We will also need a red floss or even a larger denier flat thread like this Vivus 140, but that's for later in the video. Okay, let's start our thread a hook eye length back from the eye of the hook, and then snip or break off the waste thread. Bring the thread to about halfway down the hook shank. Then come back up and end right in the middle of the thread wraps, about a quarter of the way down the hook shank. For the wing, we will be using calf body hair in white. Pull off a fair amount here and clip it from the hide. Then pull out the underfur and short fibers. Now place them in a stacker to align the tips. With the tips aligning forward, measure out about a hook shank length wing and then tie it in with a couple tight wraps. Now pull the tips upward and wrap underneath them to help pull them upward a bit. This is a good time to cut off the butt ends. When doing so, cut them off at an angle like so. Now this is hard fiber to work with, but take your time on the next few steps. You will want to split this bunch into 2 equal sections. Pull half out and wrap between the fibers. Make a couple X wraps to help splay them both outwards. Now for the tricky part. You will want to post each wing to keep the fibers together a bit more. This is the most difficult part of the fly. If you pull the thread too tight, it bends the wings in different directions, sometimes not where you want them to go. Just do this slowly and do your best to position them where you want them. If they get moved a bit out of the way, like I had them here, you can adjust them a bit with your fingers and tease them to the right orientation. Okay, once the wings are in place, then bring your thread down the hook shank with touching wraps to cover up the butt ends of the hair, and then come back a few wraps to about the halfway point on the hook shank. For the tail, we will use moose body hair. Cut 6 or so strands off for this size fly, more or less depending on what size you're tying. Then pull out the underfur and stack them to align the tips. Now measure out a little over a hook shank length and then transfer that measurement to your other hand, then make a few wraps and tighten down. This will flare out the fibers a bit, which you don't want to do, so come down with a few loose wraps until you reach the bend of the hook, and then come back up a few wraps to prepare for the next materials. As you can see, the loose wraps will help tame that flare. Okay, cut off the butt ends of the moose hair. The body will be comprised of peacock herl and red floss. Let's grab 2 peacock herls, preferably more bushy ones like these, and then align the tips and cut off the tips since they are a bit fragile. Tie down the peacock herl with the tip extending to just shy of the wings, and tie all the way down to the start of the tail. Then bring your thread back up to a little past the halfway mark on the hook. Grab the butt ends of the herl with some hackle pliers, and then start twisting the herl to make it sort a cord. Be careful not to twist too much though, or you'll break the herl. Make a few touching wraps with the herl up to just past the hook point mark. Then capture it with your thread, and tie it in so it advances up a few wraps like so. Then pull off the hackle pliers. Tie in the red thread or floss, and bring your black thread up and out of the way. Then make touching wraps up the hook with the floss to make an even body. If there are any lumps, you can go back over some of the more shallow areas to make this even as you go. Once you're happy with the red tag there, then capture the floss with a couple wraps and trim off the waste. Now leave your thread where it is and grab the peacock herl butt ends once again with hackle pliers to form another cord with it. Then wrap up a couple wraps to form the peacock collar on the fly, but don't go all the way up to the wings. Leave a little space for the hackle. Capture the herl and trim off the waist. Now we need some dry fly hackle. You can see here I've got two different saddles. One on the left is in the color Coachman Brown, which is what we're looking for. The one on the right is a natural brown color. Now there are a few darker brown hackles mixed in, which could be used. But since I've got a dedicated saddle in Coachman Brown, I'll be using that. Take one hackle feather that is the right size, in this case a size 14. When you pull these off the saddle, there is a section that is unusable. Just snip that off and then pull off a few strands at the end to expose the feather stem. Now tie this in with a couple X wraps right between the peacock and the wings. Then tie down the stem as well so it will not pull out. Advance your thread to just behind the hook eye. Start wrapping your hackle up the hook shank. I like a bushy hackle on this fly, so I make 3 wraps behind the wings and 3 in front. You can move the wings out of the way as well if you need to make this easier. When you reach your thread, then capture the hackle with a couple wraps, doing your best not to trap any fibers. I actually badly messed this up. I trapped quite a few fibers. And if you do as well, don't worry, you can just trim them off later. Anyway, once captured securely, then cut the excess feather off and trim off any errant fibers away from the eye of the hook. Pull all fibers rearward and then whip finish your fly. To secure the whip finish, I like adding this Solarez Ultra Thin UV resin. It's great stuff that simply paints onto the whip finish, and then cures hard with the UV light. And there we go, your fly is now finished. These flies for some reason work wonderfully in small creeks, and I've had great luck catching a number of different trout species on these. The colors of the body always remind me of Christmas for some reason. I guess it's the flashy green with the red. But you might ask, what will this imitate? Great question. Many people think it probably mimics a flying ant, but who really knows? It doesn't matter though, because it works great, especially in the summer months at most of the smaller streams I've fished. Let me know in the comments section what you think it imitates, and if you've had some luck on this pattern as I have. As you all know, I have gotten you all discounts from both www.risenfly.com and www.dooliesflyfishing.com. Doolies offers great prices on all of the name brand fly tying materials, and Risen Fly manufactures their own hooks, rods, reels, and other gear for fly fishing. Their products are top quality, and best of all, they are priced very reasonably. Not only are the prices at these two shops great, but like I said, they are offering all of my subscribers a discount. So use McFly at checkout when ordering from either of these shops, and you will get an additional 15% off of their already great prices. I want to also thank all of my Patreons who support me. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support this channel and also get some great perks like early access to my videos, participate in live streams, and more. So go to www.patreon.com/McFlyAngler to sign up today. I also thank all of you who share all my videos with your friends and your continued support by hitting the like buttons and subscribing. Thank you for making these videos possible. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.